Calais Campbell is officially a Raven again, and Aaron Rodgers is back in the AFC North. That and much more on this episode of the Purple Rain Podcasts. Good afternoon, good evening, and if you're watching in the morning, good morning to everybody here watching episode 404 of the Purple Rain Podcast. Funnily enough, only 4 players have ever worn the number 4 for the Baltimore Ravens, them being Jim Harbaugh, Sam Cook, Jason Pierre-Paul, and most notably to me, Mr. Zay Flowers. Yes, welcome back to another live. Welcome back to another live edition of the Purple Rain Podcast, the Friday Eve edition. And first off, you know where you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. This man right here on Instagram or on X at Sutton Def. Me, Instagram simply as10.prod, X simply as10. If you are not subscribed, you want to talk in the chat box over there, sound off. Please subscribe and feel free to like the video. It shares it, spreads it around, and kind of gets the trolls in the chat as well. The more you like it, the more we get trolls, and the more fun it is in the chat. So, welcome to episode 404 of the Purple Rain Podcast. Hope everybody's doing fine, and I'm doing great. Sutton, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. Cannot complain, not one little bit, as I normally come in here and say, man. It's a good time. It's a good time, a great time. What a time to be alive as a Ravens fan. Things I've been mentioning lately, how things have kind of dulled down since, the draft and things like that. Not a whole lot is moving and shaking right now for the Ravens. We haven't really had any mini camp stuff happen in a couple of days. But I've been kind of reflecting on this offseason. And earlier this week, I made a video right here on this very channel. Go ahead and check it out. How the Ravens are actually crushing this offseason, right? I mean, I give the grade so far in this offseason with like probably 90% of the moves already being made, right, Alex? I give it an A minus, right? So I couldn't be happier with it. There are still a couple of things I want them to address. I'm sure we'll get into that in this episode and episodes in the future as well. If this is your first time watching the Purple Rain Podcast, we appreciate you guys for coming through. Please be sure to leave a like on this video. And if you are new again, subscribe because we cover this team literally every single day of the year. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you're locked into the channel to get all the updates. Now, listen. Before we get into anything Ravens, I do want to give a shout out to the live chat. Shout out to the live chat and also shout out to the replay gang as well. If you're part of the replay gang, special shout out to you. Please comment down below what you think about these Ravens right now, and also any comments, questions, concerns about anything we're going to get into here on this episode of the show. And of course, as always, like the video. But before we get into any Raven stuff, right? Alex, you got a football team right now that you're following that is basically going to their Super Bowl. Can you enlighten us on what's going on with Arsenal FC right now?
So it's bigger than that as well. We have 3 games left in the Premier League, a league in which we have not won in 22 years. We win our next 3 games, we are the champions of England for the first time in 22 years. We win in 23 days the Champions League for the first time in our club's history to be the champions of Europe. And this is a humongous feat. It's probably the most prestigious club trophy you can win, right behind, well, second biggest for me in soccer behind the World Cup, which is obviously country. The World Cup to me is the biggest thing you can ever win, but this is right there behind it. And my Arsenal are in the finals. By the way, we are underdogs, plus 215. I go on TikTok, I go on Twitter, we're getting trolled. We don't have a chance, and I love it. We're going to get beat 4-0, 5-0. I love being the underdog. I love nobody counting us out, because guess what? We have nothing to lose right now. If we lose, we're supposed to lose. If we win, shut everybody up. But no, we are in the Champions League final after a very, very slim win on Tuesday. Not to get too personal, I did shed some tears. This is big for me. A couple of tears came out when I was watching. I'm like, this is for real. It still doesn't feel real. I gotta pinch myself. But 23 days is when the final is at noon Eastern time on Saturday, May 30th against Paris Saint-Germain, the best team in the world by far right now. The best.
Yeah, and it's funny. PSG actually used to be my favorite team when I was following more closely to the sport. PSG was my favorite team, man. I used to love watching them play. But I wanted to ask you about the last game that Arsenal played because they played against Atletico Madrid, and I
We
watched
did.
the better part of that game, and I missed the first goal. Who was it? Saka, right?
Bukayo Saka, yes. Great
Yeah,
story.
yeah, Saka. Yeah, he scored the goal for you guys. But after that, I mean, they were just trying. They were throwing the kitchen sink at you guys,
Yeah.
and you guys were literally like just hold. It felt like you guys were holding on, not necessarily for dear life. It's not like your goalie was like, literally like holding on by a thread or anything like that. But like they were pushing the pace, right? And there were a couple of really, really good entry passes, right, from Atletico Madrid that really kind of like woke me up and scared me for you. And I'm sure like you watching the game, you were probably like on edge on pins and needles. What did you think about that game?
Yeah, I don't like saying we're the best of anything, but we have the best center back. Our two defenders are the best in the world. Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba. They're unbelievable. They are the backbone of the team. I think we have the best defense in Europe, if not, well, one of the best, if not the best. We've given up 6 goals in the Champions League, and that's the only way we can win the Champions League. We've seen it here as Ravens fans. Not to correlate the two. 2000 Ravens. Think about it. We had Trent Dilfer at quarterback. It didn't matter when you have a defense like that. Hell, scoring points for you, getting the other team off the field. I'm not saying it's the same thing with Arsenal, but having that good defense, it makes everybody's house life easier. And how you can score goals as a defender. Set pieces, corners, we are the kings of them. But yeah, Atletico, they scared me a bit, but they just didn't have it in them. They usually are the bullies, and the bullies got bullied. And it was a beautiful thing to see. Their manager is kind of known as one of those like hothead crazy managers. Yeah, he
Yeah.
lost his cool, was pushing, but guys at the end, like we got in his head, and that doesn't happen a lot. And Atletico Madrid, great team, hats off to them, but it wasn't their time, and hopefully it's ours. But I was scared a bit, but in the grand scheme of things, watching it back, they had maybe one or two, real good chances. Outside of that, the defense really held their own, really did.
Yeah. And it was like raining out there too, like towards the end. I was like,
Always
man, what
raining
an
in London.
atmosphere. Yeah, I was like, yeah,
Always
you're right,
raining.
you're right. Now that I think about it, you're right. But no, like, yeah, they were getting kind of chippy towards the end of that game. But the one thing that I did like take away from it was that, like, the passion and emotion that you could see in the crowd. Like, I can't remember who was producing it. I think it was Paramount, right? It was
It
streaming on
was.
Paramount, but like they did a great job capturing, like, and I'm sure it was probably easy because literally every shot that they were getting was somebody either like crying or like hands on their head, or like it just looked way more emotional. And not to slight us American football fans, but to be honest with you, American football fans, when they pay into the crowd, you see a bunch of drunk people having a good time. You know what I
Shirt
mean?
off.
Shirts off, waving it around, bunch of towels, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like this was like literally like, oh no, if this doesn't happen, I don't have a home to go to after this. It was that type of passion surrounded around this game. And like it was refreshing to see, to be honest with you. It felt very, very intense. So I can't wait to see how the rest of the season goes for you guys, man. I was very, very, happy for y'all. But you guys got work cut out for you still. Still got work cut out for you. So, still some time to be played, but yeah. Yeah. Great
Hey,
stuff. Great
unstoppable
stuff.
force versus immovable object. PSG's attack, Arsenal's defense. That's really what it's going to be at the end. Like I said, we're huge underdogs. I love it. Wouldn't want it any other way. Wouldn't want people to say we have no chance. That's fine by
Right.
me. We'll see what happens. And you said with the passion and the atmosphere before the game, I think 45 minutes before kickoff, like I think hours before, they lined up for the team bus, set red flares off, welcomed the team in, and got the atmosphere started from the jump. Then they had the pre-match festivities, the big tifo. I don't know if you saw that, which was a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's like supporting from the land and sea. It was beautiful, and then at the end, fireworks. Fans didn't leave. Our team anthems, she's singing that. I was jealous. I had FOMO, never been there. I wish I was there. But yeah, it's just going to be even more important. We have this Sunday a game, and then I think next Monday, and then the Sunday after that, and then in 3 weeks, like I said, we have the final. So I'll be downtown Baltimore at the Arsenal supporters bar, most likely watching the final. So it should be a good time.
Yeah. You definitely got to make sure you make one of those games one of these days, man. For sure. For sure.
I need to. I got the
Definitely do
passport
it.
too. There's really no excuses. I
See,
have
yeah,
a
there's no
passport.
excuse. Just get it done, man. Just get it done. Just do it, right? Like you have to. This is like your this is your passion. This is your bread and butter here. Shout out to Arsenal. Um, Again, shout out to everybody watching live right now. Again, this is the Purple Rain podcast. Definitely want to give big salute to Arsenal FC going to the final here. And I wish we could say the same about our Ravens. We are unfortunately very far off from that reality, or that dream becoming a reality, rather. And but we still do have some things to talk about with these Baltimore Ravens. So let's go ahead and get into that. Kind of Baltimore Ravens adjacent here, Alex. Let's start with this. So apparently, Aaron Rodgers was scheduled to go to Pittsburgh and talk things out with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it is the expectation that he is going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers and play another year with them. Now, here's the thing about Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, Alex. He happened to have last year some of his best games against our Baltimore Ravens. So my question to you, Alex, and I also want to get your knee-jerk reaction to this news, is should Ravens fans be at all concerned and or worried about Aaron Rodgers coming back to this division? Because let me set the scene for you really quick. We can talk about how, we have Trey Hendrickson. We can talk about how, Mike Green's going to take a step forward. Matabike might be coming back. Travis Jones. The pass rush is going to be lethal. Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers, at his big age, at 40, whatever he is, right? He gets the ball out quicker than anybody else in the league, right? So he neutralizes a great pass rush with anticipation because he's a quarterback who has that veteran experience to be able to play with elite levels of anticipation. So what I want to ask you is, should the Ravens be concerned about Aaron Rodgers coming back to the AFC North?
I think we should be happy, excited. I know I am. I know I'm very excited. I want to get back on Mr. Rodgers. I think those 2 games last year, he had great games. I actually have the stats pulled up right here. His first game against us, 23 for 34, 284 yards, a touchdown. The second, he actually ran for a touchdown that game against us too. That's embarrassing. That second game, week 18, 31 for 47, almost 300 yards, a touchdown. Good games against us. But there's this one game I'm looking at. Pittsburgh at the Los Angeles Chargers. 16
What was that?
31.
November 9th, right?
Yes.
November 9th, 2025. What was the stats again? Say that again, Alex.
16 for 31. 161 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 50.6 passer rating. I'm not concerned. Listen, I thought about this from a Ravens fan standpoint as a Steeler fan standpoint. If I'm a Steeler fan, I'm upset. You may say, why? In a upcoming draft, which, not my words, which I've seen is a great class for quarterbacks, are you going to want another pick in the low 20s, high teens, when you can maybe get your quarterback of the future top 10? And Aaron Rodgers, to me, he won't win them Super Bowl, but they won't be bad. They'll be to the point where they're not going to have a high pick to draft somebody, a quarterback of that caliber, unless they have to give up assets, which is very possible. But it's also possibly blocking the development of a guy like Will Howard, of a Drew Aller. I think it's more of a net negative than anything for him coming back, which I'm not worried about it at all. Good for him. And Kwame here, great point. Zach Gore basically got Malik Willis paid. You take those 2 games away from Aaron Rodgers, that's damn near 600 yards. That puts him at 2,700 yards in 16 games. And 20 touchdowns, 21 touchdowns. Bang average season. Not worried at all. Bring him back to the AFC North. We have a get back to get, and I'd be ashamed if we don't sweep them. It's probably not going to happen. Steeler Devil magic. But you have got to sweep them. And yeah, bring it on. Not worried at all.
Yeah, Alex, and like you were kind of mentioning here, you can see the stats here. I mean, versus the Ravens, Aaron Rodgers was doing everything. He was doing whatever he wanted basically against the Ravens. Didn't throw a whole bunch of touchdowns, right? But he was basically, completed 66% of his passes against the Ravens, right? But against the Chargers, completed only 51% of his passes, right? And the thing that's really embarrassing, right? And again, keep in mind, Chargers were, coached by Jesse Minter, at least the defensive side of the football. So this is very telling. The thing that's really embarrassing, though, as a Ravens fan, is that in 2 games against Aaron Rodgers, the Ravens amassed 0 interceptions. In 1 game against Aaron Rodgers, the Chargers, led by Jesse Minter, amassed 2 interceptions. In 2 games against Aaron Rodgers, the Ravens amassed 2 sacks. In 1 game against Aaron Rodgers, the Chargers amassed 3 sacks on Aaron Rodgers. And so it's a night and day difference in the performance of Aaron Rodgers when he's playing against Zach Orr's defense and Jesse Minter's defense. And need I remind us, Alex, that like you mentioned on Monday's episode, the talent difference between what Jesse Minter was dealing with in LA and what he's dealing with here in Baltimore is pretty big. If you ask us, and we're not even just biased Ravens fans, like pound for pound, we have better pieces on our defense than the LA Chargers. I don't think that's crazy to say or state, right? Especially with the Trey Hendrickson addition. So with that being said, I think that you're right. There is no reason for Ravens fans to be worried, concerned, or anything at all when it comes to Aaron Rodgers potentially, allegedly, maybe, right, coming back to the AFC North and playing for the Steelers once again. Because he's only getting older, for one. Wasn't his hand bothering him last year too, Alex? Wasn't his hand a problem? Yeah, like once it starts getting cold outside, I mean, listen, it's going to get ugly. And you mentioned something about that was very interesting to me. It piqued my interest when you were talking about it. You said that, the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers, they're not going to make the playoffs, right? Or they might make the playoffs, but they're not going to go on a run or anything like that. And they're not going to necessarily be terrible, right? They're just basically going to tread water, right? And that's what the Steelers have been so good at doing for the past decade and some change now, right? It's been a while. We're in 2026 now. The Steelers have been doing nothing but treading water, right? Barely going over 500, barely making the playoffs, getting bounced out of the playoffs, right? Haven't won a playoff game since the Obama administration. It's not good. It's not looking good at all. So I don't understand what the Steelers, and honestly, this is kind of like an indictment to me on Omar Khan, the Steelers GM, because respectfully, brother, like, what are you doing? Like, do you not know how this league operates? Do you not know how this league works? We're going on the 10-year anniversary of when Big Ben Roethlisberger was slowing down and looking like he was on his way out, right? And since then, you haven't hit on any quarterback. You haven't made a big swing at any type of quarterback who is going to actually help your team out in the long run, whether that be packaging up to move up in draft classes to get a higher quarter. No, they don't do that. They're kind of like the Ravens in a way. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we're going to prioritize the defense first. And honestly, Ozzie Newsome, you have to tip your cap to him because he did not have to draft Lamar Jackson. He did not have to move back up into the first round to draft Lamar Jackson. It was a very uncharacteristic move for the Ravens to do something like that, right? But I thank God that I literally calling God every day that he did that. I'm so glad about that. The Steelers haven't had that same sort of like eureka type of moment where it's like, hey, maybe we should go and get that guy with this high draft capital. I mean, they've gotten Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, but like not guys who you would necessarily like come out of the draft knowing, okay, that's our franchise guy, So they're just treading water right now. I think you're absolutely right.
I think that's a great way to put it, treading water, because you bring up the quarterbacks, signing a Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. You have a Justin Fields, I think, who had them at like a 3-1 record, had him above 500. Russ comes back and they just throw him on the bench. Granted, Justin Fields wasn't playing the best, but that's a great way to ruin a young quarterback's confidence, which I don't think he's ever gotten back. And I think back to this time in 2020. I remember when I was first getting to YouTube, and I was worried that the Steelers would take a certain quarterback. And he's probably one of the most controversial quarterbacks. Some people love him, some people hate him. It was Jalen Hurts. I think it was the second round. And I'm like, The Steelers, man, that's a great quarterback they could get. Throw behind Ben for a year or two, and he's their answer. Passed on him. And I think,
Yeah.
that was their moment right there. Like I said, you can think of him how you want to, but he'd be a damn good quarterback, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Especially, I think that they had their fair share of good receivers there. And they
Oh,
missed an
him and
opportunity.
Tomlin would have loved each other.
Yeah, and that would have been a great duo, and it just didn't happen. And you make a great point. Like, I thank Ozzy for making that move, giving up that second round pick. F them picks when you can get a guy like Lamar. F them picks when you can get a guy who can win you games, tons of
Yeah.
ball games, an impact player. And Omar Khan and the Steelers have not done that. They're just stuck in their ways. Like, they're playing 1990s, football. They're trying to be like us in a way, but it just never works out. And you bring up their playoff losses, they're never close. They're embarrassing losses. They got blown out by us 2 years ago at home. 28-14 was never really a game. They got blown out by the Texans. They got blown out by the Browns in 2020. It was like 48 to something. The Browns damn near hung a 50 spot on you in the playoffs.
That's embarrassing. Wow.
And it's not just Pittsburgh. It's all their teams. I think the Penguins haven't won a game in a while, a playoff game. The Pirates haven't. For a city that kind of prides itself on sports, they're doing a whole lot of losing recently. And yeah, Khan, he has to go. They always call him the con artist. Only person he's really, fleecing it is their own city. He really is. They have not put out a team where it's like, wow, I want to go and see that Steelers team play. You know what they are every single year. 10-win ceiling, first round exit. I don't know. And this Aaron Rodgers signing or re-signing, whatever, it just shows it to me more and more. They are not serious. They just want to be maybe somewhat. I don't even know how to say it. It's just, I'm a Ravens fan. I'm happy they did it. Somewhat competitive, but they're not going to go far at all. They're not.
Yeah, it's almost as if they're like capitulating this season to the Ravens and the Bengals, because I've been hearing a lot of talk about how the Bengals are supposed to be really, really good this year too. And looking at their roster, I mean, their defense on paper has improved, much like our offense on paper has improved, and our defense as well. So I respect it. And the only team in the AFC North who, I mean, the Browns, they're gonna Brown. You just don't, they're probably gonna win 5 games this year, and we'll just call it another year of the Browns being the Browns. But the Steelers, I think, are in a very peculiar situation right now where they're kind of not unlike the Ravens, right? The Ravens fired John Harbaugh, was coaching the Ravens for 18 years, and they replaced him with Jesse Minter. But the Super Bowl expectations are still right there for the Ravens. Whereas for the Steelers, they fired Mike Tomlin, head coach for the Steelers for 19 years or something like that. And they don't feel like they're right there in the driver's seat, in the contender seat. Like, they feel like they're rebuilding, So with that being said, I mean, I just think that the Steelers should have definitely by now. Well, you know what it was, Alex? I think in this draft, they were blindsided, right? They really, really wanted Mekhi Lemon. They were about to draft him. They were on the phone with him. And then Howie did Howie things. And the Eagles went up and they stole him, right from underneath his nose. And that had to be embarrassing, right? A team that plays literally in your state, in the state of Pennsylvania. The draft is going on your home turf, in your backyard, right? And they just steal Mekhi Lemon, and you're forced to draft Max, Ayanakor, the right tackle, right? Who you don't even know if he's going to start. It's a disaster right now in Pittsburgh, but yeah, it's sad. Be sure to like the video, guys.
Yeah, and Broderick Jones as well. He's hurt. The other linemen, they have a lot of question marks. I know they got Bernard from Bama, and that's kind of like their star. They think is going to be that guy. I'm not too sure. I'm not really sure what the Steelers are going to look like. If I had to make a bet, I think they're not going to be 500 this year. I think they're going to be under it. 7-10, 8-9. Got to check their schedule out, but they have a lot of holes to fill. Defensively, I don't think they have. I think there's a regression coming for guys like Cam Hayward, TJ Watt. I just don't see it. Their secondary doesn't really scare me. I see guys talking about the Browns. The Browns did draft amazing, but at the same time, their line still worries me, and they're going to start Deshaun Watson because they have to, because of money wise.
Yeah.
Shador gave him a spark, and that really could take you a long way. Not saying it's going to get you to the playoffs, but it can win you more games. But
But you're not paying
they might be
Shador what 20 something,
you're
30
not
something
paying
million dollars.
fully guaranteed exactly. So you have to start Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to say now, Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns for the AFC North. I
Yeah.
think
That
I
sounds
was thinking
about
about
right.
wait. I was like, thinking about Purple Rain. I'm like driving. I'm like, all right, well, I know our schedule release is coming up. I'm like, how many games do I see the Ravens losing after the draft? I'm like, I think we lose maybe one game at home, if that. I have us maybe losing 3 or 4 games, and that's me being generous. Because I'm like, I think we're gonna have this kind of identity back at home where we don't want to lose our home games because we lost way too many last year. Away, maybe 2 or 3. That's just my early prediction. 13-4 could change.
Let me look at our opponents really quick. Let me pull that up. Ravens 2026 opponents. See who we play at home because, yeah, I mean, you make a good point. I think that the Ravens will definitely play with a sense of pride at home, unlike, in years past, because we were just so terrible last season. Let me bring this up on screen for us here. Again, be sure to like the videos, guys. Subscribe to the channel as well as bring up here the Ravens 2026 opponents. So, okay, the home opponents are, of course, you have the AFC North opponents, and then you have the Jaguars, Titans, Saints, Bucks, and Chargers. Gee, I mean, out of those opponents, man, I really don't see the Ravens losing. I I don't see him losing. I just don't. And this is all pending, of course, if Jesse Minter can actually freaking coach. But like based off of what these Ravens, based off of what the Ravens looked like last year, right? Kind of like bruised and battered, mentally defeated all season after that week 1 loss to the Bills, right? Stale philosophy with the head coach and things like that. Players who were leaking Reddit posts, right? Which reeked of freaking trauma and drama in the castle. It wasn't looking good. But now you have these home games where it's a totally new regime, totally new coaching staff, new unis, new players, new juice. I don't see the Ravens losing to the Jaguars, the Titans, the Saints, the Bucks, or the Chargers, quite frankly. Like, I can't wait for the schedule release just like you, which, by the way, I think it comes out next week. Alex, next
Yeah.
Wednesday or Thursday, I think is what they said, right?
Yep. So I was thinking about on the way home, like, all right, that schedule release is coming home soon, and I'm like, where are the losses gonna be? Because it's really
Yeah.
8-8. Because that Brazil game, that ain't no away game for the Ravens. I know on here it's gonna be, but there will be more purple than blue and white down there in Brazil. I think Lamar has the streets. I really do. I believe that. I think what they love in their footballers and flair, technician, that's everything in Lamar. Flashy, gets it done. I think that'll be like a home game for us. So yeah, I'm not too worried about our home games, including the Cowboys. Away, Texans will be hard. Great defense. I guess the Bills, obviously the AFC North teams, but I'm really thinking 13-4, 14-3 for the Ravens. Just
Oh,
early prediction.
yeah. Yeah. I can see that too. I can definitely see that. I mean, I can see us dropping a couple of dumb ones as we normally do. Speaking of that, Alex, I had Keeping It Real on Quiet Storm last night, and he was talking about something that I hadn't really thought about up until he told me. He was saying how is this Ravens team, how are they going to look in losses?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, because obviously you can't win every game. Us in May with the purple glasses on and seeing all these acquisitions. Oh, we got Trey Hendrickson. Oh, we have Zion Young and Venga Yowane is going to block for Lamar Jackson now, and he's going to get back to MVP status. And Derrick Henry is going to rush behind an even better offensive line. You're still not going to win every game. It's possible, right? But it's highly unlikely. But how are this team's losses going to look? Like, are they going to look much like under John Harbaugh, where there's like blown leads in second halves? Are guys just going to be gassing out? Like, what does that look like? I thought that was pretty interesting, no?
Yeah, that's really a question you don't want to think about, but it's a very great question. And I don't think, I mean, what's going to classify as a blown lead? A double digit lead late in the fourth quarter or in the fourth quarter? I think, we could be up 10 points in the second quarter. I can't call that a blown lead because there's so much time left. Obviously, if it's 4 possessions, that's a different story. But if it's 17-7, 14 minutes in the second quarter, you know what I mean? If it's 27-17, 7 minutes in the fourth quarter, completely different out with me. But I think I'm probably, if anything, a close game, and maybe in which Jesse Minter's inexperience as a head coach might come back to bite him, and we lose a game. Maybe go for it on the fourth down. Maybe we shouldn't have.
Well, you know
But
what I
don't think
say,
it'll be blown
Alex?
leads.
I think that I disagree with you when you say that a 2-possession lead, you can't call that a blown lead. I can, because even if it's just 10 points, right? And I don't have the actual stat on hand with me right now, but as somebody who's been watching football for a few decades at this point, I think that your win probability, if you go up 10 points in a game, 2 possessions, is probably around like 60 or mid 60%. Would you agree with that, Alex? I think that that's pretty fair, right? I'd say about like 35 to 40% of the time, somebody who's down by 10 points in like the second quarter is going to come back and win that game. It's a game of possessions, and anything can happen possession to possession. So again, I think that blown leads can definitely look like 10 points or less, like being given up and conceded and allowing a team to come back. But I don't. I think you were saying. I want to let you finish. My bad.
My thing is like 17-7. It's we're up 10-7. We score a touchdown. They can get the ball back at 17-14 just like that. Well, when you take a screenshot of that 17-7 and kind of throw the context out the window, then I don't think it's a blown lead. I think context is important. In fourth quarter, 100%. If you're up by 10 points in the fourth quarter, that to me is a blown lead. In the second quarter, if you just scored and you're up by 10, and like I said, if they go down the field and score, it's a completely different, different situation. But I don't think that we'll have many of those. If we do have them, we won't have the Bills breakdown that we had last year. That definitely won't be happening, I feel like. The Patriots, I don't think that'll be happening. I think Derrick Henry will be staying on the field when necessary. And that's the type of loss that I don't want to see. When we're up, or if we're fighting back and we take off an impact player, and we kind of wonder, well, where did they go? Because how many times in a couple of years have we seen, well, this guy just never got the ball after this minute of this quarter of this game, he could have changed it. We've been talking about that year after year after year after year. I guess for loss, I mean, I think it's an experience with Shell for maybe 1 or 2 games, but outside of that, I don't expect blown leads. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping not for sure, but we'll see. We will see. Again, a couple of months until football gets back underway. But I want to shift gears here, Alex. I want to talk about this Ravens offseason. And like I said before, like the dust is pretty much settled, between free agency, draft, all that good stuff. And now the Ravens are in this moment where they're looking at $23 million of available cap space and a lot of very, very promising free agents still left on the market. I want to share with you guys this video here that was put out by the Ravens media talking about how the Ravens offseason checklist may not be over just yet.
The Ravens checked a lot of boxes of need this offseason, but that doesn't necessarily mean Eric DeCosta is done shaping the roster just yet. With the draft now in the rearview mirror, Baltimore could still look to add a veteran or two before the season kicks off in September. And if that happens, here are 3 positions I believe the Ravens could look for some reinforcement: center, outside linebacker, and wide receiver. The biggest question mark right now might be at center. Baltimore has some options on the roster following Tyler Linderbaum's departure, but no one with a significant amount of NFL game experience. The Ravens could also consider sliding a guard over to center, but there's still a strong argument for bringing in a proven veteran presence. But who's still available? Well, Graham Glasgow, Ryan Kelly, and Ethan Posick are all still on the free agent market. DeCosta also said he'd be open to a trade to fill that void. So the answer at center might already be on the roster, or the Ravens could look at other options. Outside linebacker is another fascinating spot to watch. The Ravens already made major investments there this offseason by signing Trey Hendrickson and drafting Zion Young in the second round. But even with those additions, there are still some questions about depth and experience. So adding a veteran edge rusher like Von Miller, Hassan Reddick, or Joey Bosa, or even reuniting with a vet like Jadeveon Clowney or Kyle Van Noy could also make a lot of sense. And then there's wide receiver, where Baltimore appears to be betting on upside and internal growth. Zay Flowers remains the clear headliner. Rashad Bateman is looking to bounce back after a season with some injuries. Tez Walker has shown flashes, and the Ravens now have a few rookie pass catchers entering their first NFL offseason. So while there's a lot of talent in this room, Baltimore could still look to add a veteran option before training camp, and some options could be Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, Keenan Allen, or they could always bring DeAndre Hopkins back too. So the Ravens seem eager to evaluate what they have over the coming weeks before deciding whether more veteran additions are necessary. While the heavy lifting of the offseason may be finished, don't be surprised if the Ravens still make another move or two before week 1 arrives. That's it for today.
All right. So you heard there about how the Ravens pretty much aren't done yet in this offseason. They still have plenty of room to make moves here. And Alex, you talked about here in that video how the Ravens have, edge rusher maybe to look at, wide receiver, at center, a couple other positions as well. And a lot of them kind of make a lot of sense, and with $23 million left in cap space, I definitely think that the Ravens should make a move. Before we break that down, we do have a super chat donation. This one is coming from Mad Rasta. Appreciate you, Mad Rasta, dropping the 5-piece in the chat. Let's clap it up for him. Making it rain here on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Says, I wonder how the new coach clock management will be during the game. Harbs was bad at this in challenges. Get Diggs and center. This is a very, very interesting point that you bring up here because, clock management is something that the Ravens, I wouldn't say that they struggled with super often, but at times it did it was an ailment, right? But what I want to bring up here is, and I want to remind everybody, the new game management coordinator is Charlie Gelman. Charlie Gelman. I think that he'll probably be the guy who is, going to be managing clock situations. Not to say that Jesse Minter won't be doing it himself, but if I had to probably guess who's going to be doing something like that, Charlie Gelman, who's the game manager, he probably has that role under his belt. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, that should be his bread and butter. I think there was a couple of times in recent memory where it'd be the first half ending it, and we're with 2 timeouts, 3 timeouts. I'm like, all right, well, we're stopping them on defense. Let's use some timeouts, save some clock. We have the most electric quarterback in the league who can turn, nothing into something. Let's give him 40, 45 seconds to at least go down the field and get 3 points, and we wouldn't. We're going into the halftime with 3 timeouts, 2 timeouts. Like, all right, they're not going to roll over. And that, to me, I feel like we would leave points on the board. So I definitely am looking forward to the clock management. And then the challenges as well. There were sometimes I felt like he would just have these challenges, Harbaugh that is, just like, F it. I'm just going to throw the challenge flag. And they'll be
the ego challenges.
Yeah, it'd be like a kickoff where the ball comes out and the guy's knee is clearly down. Yeah. And he challenges it. It's like, we already won the game, but he's still challenging. I'm like, you're just wasting our time now. I'm glad you said an ego challenge. That's exactly what it was. Like, there's no need to throw that. There's no need. You see the replay on that big, beautiful board at M&T Bank. No need to throw it. And then, get Diggs in the center. All for the center. I don't think Diggs will become a Raven. I don't think it's the Raven. I think it's Diggs. I don't think he wants to come here. Actually, I know he doesn't want to come here. I kind of talked about that probably a month or so ago. Yeah, I don't think Stephon Diggs will be a Baltimore Raven, but definitely I'm on board with getting a center.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of the free agents here, let's go ahead and take a look at the available free agents remaining here in this 2026 NFL offseason. Now, Alex, we talked about, of course, going out and getting a center. We talked about a wide receiver, edge as well as another big one. Based off of the names you see here, right? And centers aren't even on here. If we want, we can actually switch over to center specifically and take a look at them. Not a whole lot of options there, admittedly. Not as many as, as other positions, but you do have some they're here. Here they're kind of doubled up. I'm not exactly sure why. But Graham Glasgow was a guy who a lot of people were talking about. Didn't have the best of years, in Detroit most recently, but he is a 10-year vet, right? If you want some experience there in front of Lamar Jackson, surrounded by more experience in John Simpson, and then a young phenom, if you will, in Venga Ioane, and then savvy vet in Ronnie Stanley, and Roger Rosengard, whatever you want to say about him, then I think that Graham Glasgow would be a good option. But overall, Alex, I mean, I know we talk a lot about center. Graham Glasgow is a guy who, of course, is we might bring in. But overall, free agents, what positions and who specifically would you want the Ravens to bring in with this $23 million in cap space?
Off topic, I'm still annoyed Kevin Zeitler is a free agent. I'm still annoyed about
Mm,
that. I'll be honest with you. Never should have walked out. I just looked it up because you're talking about linemen. I'm like, is Kevin Zeitler still out there? Yeah, and we go with John Simpson. That's neither here nor there. But for me, it has to be Jadeveon Clowney. The edge we're talking about. Obviously, signing Trey is amazing. Drafting Zion Young is cool, but I can't throw all my eggs into his basket because I've seen how other edge rushers, unfortunately, the Ravens have panned out. I think he'll be different. I definitely think Jadeveon Clowney has to be definitely a priority to come into Baltimore. The experience here would excel in this defense. We know we're going to get high energy, probably 6.5, maybe 7 sacks, if not more. Not going to turn the clock back in double digits, but I think he'll be an impact player, situational
mhm.
guy, and just bring some juice that's needed, I think, in the edge room. I'd be all for that. If you want to go back and forth, we're going to keep on going.
Oh no, keep on going. So, I mean, I agree with Jadeveon Clowney for sure. Get some more veteran presence in here, and a guy who's familiar with the organization. But yeah, who else?
I'm on the fence with the receiver. I really am.
Okay.
So we think about who we have now. Lane Surratt, who we just drafted. Flowers, Bateman, who are already there. Tez Walker. There's 5. I think they'll carry 6. LeJontay Wester, I know we drafted him. He's our punt returner. But are you only going to be on the roster strictly for a punt returner? I'm not too sure about that. You mentioned Keenan Allen. I've kind of thought about that. I'm like a route running, technician savant, if you may. Been around the league. Wouldn't hate it. D Hop definitely wouldn't hate that. I don't think Tyreek will come here. I think Tyreek is probably going to be a Chief. I know Diggs won't come here. I don't think Debo Samuel is what we need in that room. Jawan Jennings, I wouldn't hate it, but if he's going to be commanding anywhere close to 22 million, I'm good off that. So it means maybe a Hopkins or a Keenan Allen is what I'm thinking about. Obviously, with Keenan Allen, soft tissue words, always a worry. But I don't think he'd be playing nearly enough snaps to warrant, that type of tread on his hamstrings.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to wide receivers, I think that I like the idea of a Keenan Allen again, like we mentioned, barring the I words and things like that. But uh, I'm still a big believer in Rashad Bateman. I'm sorry, I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get this guy more involved. Like we mentioned, those are the vets now. Those are the vets. And we just drafted Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt. So I'm sorry, but if it's not going to be D Hop for a vet minimum deal, that's not even really going to put too much of a dent in that $23 million of cap space that's available, then I'm all right. I think I'm all set. But no, I think D Hop over anybody for me would be who I bring in. D Hop, and then Jadeveon Clowney, and then if we can also fit Graham Glasgow. If you sign those 3 guys, right? If you sign
Yeah.
again, DeAndre Hopkins, Graham Glasgow, and Jadeveon Clowney, then I think that perfectly kind of meshes together, welds together the rest of this roster into something that you can really say that okay, this is a legitimate Super Bowl contender, right?
Yeah. Now, while you have this up, I'm going to be what Kyle Hamilton calls is spoiled. Could you look at the defensive backs for me, please? Because I feel like you can never
Sure.
have enough defensive backs in the NFL. Knowing how the Ravens are and how we just get beat up, we're always going to have our 5th or 6th, defensive back playing in a big game. See, Kenny Moore just got released today. Um, don't think Lattimore will come here. Don't think Diggs will come here. Snead, I doubt that. Jimmy Ward, I don't think. I've always liked Akuda. Will be a good story for him. I just don't think it'll happen. Trey White, double agent.
Yeah, super double agent.
Yeah.
I think I'm all good on Trey White, to be honest with you. All
Yeah.
that, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I know. As far like was good when he was here, but then you go to Buffalo and forget how to play cornerback. That's very convenient to go to them next year. Very convenient. Dapping up your former teams before the game. That's what we do after the game, not before the game. Just my opinion.
Yeah, nah.
Just want to nothing crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do bring in maybe a vet DB come training camp time. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
I wouldn't be mad at that either. Because I feel like, honestly, Alex, I mean, the D-line feels like it is pretty much set. I'm not going to lie. Maybe one more depth piece here or there, whether on the edge or the interior. Fine. Okay, I'm cool with that. Or we can rock out with some of these UDFAs, or we can mold one of those guys. The linebacking room, you know who it's going to be. It's going to be Roquan. It's going to be Trenton and Teddy Buchanan if he's ready to rock. Outside of that, I mean, the safeties, Jalen Hawkins, Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton. And then the corners, you've got Cheeto, you've got Nate, and you've got Marlon. But outside of that, you're really kind of thin. You're really kind of thin because the DB rooms, you're spread a little bit more thin because more of them have to be on the field at once. And we've seen in years past when one guy goes down, it totally changes the defense, right? Guys start getting hunted. Who was the guy a couple of years ago that Baker Mayfield was hunting on that Monday Night Football game? Wasn't it Devontae Harris or somebody like that who was playing corner for us?
Good guy.
And somebody went down and Devontae Harris had to step in, and he was just getting targeted over and over, just used and abused by Baker Mayfield. You're saying he's a good dude. He must have a great story.
Good dude.
But I'm not.
Listen.
Is he a great dude? Okay. Am I missing something here?
I'm thinking about that. No, because along with him, I remember Tremont Williams, the corpse of him getting stiff-armed by Juju Smith-Schuster that same year. You remember that in Pittsburgh? That COVID game when we had the backups in?
Oh, yeah.
It was both of them. It was bad. That's what I'm saying. They didn't deserve it. They did not deserve what happened to them. Like Robert Jackson, God bless him. They put him on an island with Devontae freaking Adams. It was him and Kevon Seymour. God bless them both. Didn't turn out good.
Yeah.
So it's like it seems like it's always one of those games where we're deep on the depth chart. We had Keon Martin last year in Cleveland, who he stepped in and made some plays, but once again our DBs went down and we were just rocking out with him, and that's an undrafted guy, I think from like Louisiana Raging Cajuns, in his rookie year in a big game. So definitely want to be against that. And you think about the guys you name, it's Marlon, Nate, Cheeto, and then after that a bunch of unproven. I like TJ Tampa, I really do.
It's dicey. Yeah.
Longer beam Kone, I'm not too sure. Rivers, rookie. Keon Martin, UDFA, going into his second year. It wouldn't hurt to, get that guy. Hell, they brought Jair Alexander in last year. We had the same DB room. Cheeto, Marlon, Nate. So it could happen again. Hopefully a different ending.
Yeah, and I do like Keon Martin. Shout out to Keon Martin, by the way. All right, so let's go ahead and shift gears here. By the way, let us know down below in the comments section who you want the Ravens to bring in as a free agent, again, with this $23 million of cap space. Let us know down below in the comments. Be sure also to like the video, whether you're part of the replay gang or if you're watching live right now. Shout out to the people watching live. I see you guys in the live chat going back and forth and things like that. I want to kind of bring up some of you guys' points on screen as we go along here, so definitely keep commenting for sure. But let's move on here. So let's talk about Calais Campbell officially signing with the Baltimore Ravens. Yet again, he is back. It's official. Year 19, and here's where his mentality is today.
I really want to be valuable. Like, I want to make Eric look like a genius. All the people who wanted me here, I want them to look good. So I'm going to go out there and produce as best I can. You got to earn it. Nobody's going to just go in there and be like, because of my history, my pedigree, that should make plays. Like, no, like they're going to try to stop me, and I got to go out there and earn it every day. And so I'm hoping that I can go out there and make every Ravens fan proud, and everybody who wanted me here, everybody who didn't want me here too, to be like, you know what, I was wrong. I was wrong. Yep. That guy's a beast.
Yeah, Alex, thoughts?
That voice, that smile. We signed him in 2020. I couldn't get over the voice, and it's 6 years later, and I still can't get over how deep his voice is. Like,
Yeah.
he has that switch of he's like this great guy, Walter Payton Man of the Year, but when he gets on the field, it just clicks, and he is somebody who you do not want to block. You just get out of his way. All great things to hear. I'll probably eat my words, from liking it to loving it, which I hope I already do love it now. Definitely a piece that we needed. Now with, knowing DJ Reader went to New York, completely understand, Calais Campbell coming back. I think he'll bring more of the intangibles, the leadership, the voice. I'm all for it. It was pretty damn productive last year after I watched his tape. So, Calais, I'm happy he's back. The 93 is going to be his again. It's kind of like a full circle moment. Like, we got this guy. We traded for him to stop Derrick Henry. Another teammate.
Intangibles. You mentioned the word intangibles, Alex. I got to ask you, top 3 intangibles guys on the defense right now. Go.
Probably 2 of them are brand new on the team. Trey and Calais. Well, Calais is coming back. I'll be honest with you. Roquan doesn't do it for me.
You're missing one.
Who am I missing? I'm thinking. Who do you have?
I mean, you mentioned Calais. That's true. Trey, maybe. I don't know. That's yet to be seen. We'll see. But I'm going to go Zion Young. You talk about intangibles. You talk about a guy who's going to bring that energy, a guy who's going to bring all that dog, juice. Right? All fresh juice, freshly squeezed, right out of the NCAA. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude is ready to go. And him next to Calais Campbell, you got kind of like that old, old grit energy, and then you got that young gritty energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the best of both worlds there. Those are 2 really big intangible guys for me. The third guy, I don't know if I'll put Trey Hendricks in there, like you said, Alex, but outside of those 2, I mean, Roquan, just again, man.
It's stale.
Show me
it's
enough.
A stale piece of bread. It's a stale piece of bread. It's the piece of bread you think that looks good, you biting it, and now your teeth are hurting. And then you gotta go brush your teeth. I'm telling you, it's a stale piece of bread. It's the one the seagulls at the beach are pecking at. That's Roquan. They're like pecking at it.
For sure. Washed up on the beach. Shout out to Steve Loop in the chat. Says, be good, y'all. Thank you, PRP. Steve? What up, Steve? Have a good night, man. But yeah. Definitely Zion for sure. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Nate Wiggins is a guy who,
I like
for
it.
Sure. I like that. I like that. I want to see him take, and see, here's the thing about Nate Wiggins, right? And while we're on the topic of defense, like, Nate Wiggins, he may be in my top 3 intangibles guys on the Ravens, or he may be like an honorable mention, but he's also in my top 3 Ravens who I think need to improve the most, right? Because as much as we give our flowers to Nate Wiggins for, he's kind of still in the honeymoon phase with Ravens fans right now, only playing 2 seasons with us. He's had some good moments, right? But he's also had a lot of moments where you just kind of go like, okay, what was Nate doing right there? And a lot of that can be chalked up to scheme, right? You can say it's on Zach Orr's defense while he was playing 12,000 yards off of his guy, right, before snap. Or you can just say it was just his skill. I don't know. But he's one of those guys who I can vividly remember a lot of times last season, where Nate Wiggins was kind of pissing me off a little bit. Not gonna lie. Love me some Nate Wiggins. I'll probably get his jersey. But I definitely think he needs to take that next step this year, in terms of his instincts, right? In terms of his... and again, I think a lot of it is scheme, so I don't want to sound unfair and like I'm denigrating him in any way, but I do think that he needs to take a little step forward here. There's a couple of other guys as well. I'm not singling Nate Wiggins out. I think Roger Rosengarten is another guy who needs to take a step forward in this next year too. There's a couple of guys on the roster, so don't get me wrong, but Nate Wiggins was definitely a guy for me.
I can wholeheartedly agree with that. I think, he was lined up, like you said, 12,000 yards off, but even his first year, dropped picks. I think the balls went through his hands a couple of times. But you have plays like he had against the Bears where he absolutely just baited Caleb Williams, ran stride
Yeah.
for stride with Roman Odunze, who is a damn good receiver himself. But it's like when Nate was drafted, he was drafted because like he had this insane speed. Press him, put him, let him.
Yeah.
I'm listening. He's not the biggest guy, but he can keep up. I wouldn't hate that, but it's kind of going down to Minter, using his guys correctly. I think that's a great one. He definitely does bring it, Wiggins, and I do like that a lot about him. But just play him to his strengths, and that's kind of the thing that we've had a problem with coaching. We don't play players to their strengths. I think Wiggins is unfortunately a victim of that. So when we do see him at his strength, I think we'll see him a lot better. But you're right, man. He was giving up a lot with that press, and wasn't really as physical as we want him to. And when he was physical, I thought he broke his arm, I think week 3 or 4 against the Chiefs last year, and he's back the next week. So some toughness in him as well.
Right. Yeah.
I like that.
For sure. By the way, guys, 113 people watching live right now. Thank y'all so much for coming out to this episode 404 of the Purple Rain podcast. Please be sure to leave a thumbs up on this video. Yes, that's right. Please leave a like on the video, guys. It helps us out so much here at PRP. We would greatly appreciate it if you just left a thumbs up. And then also, if you're new, subscribe to the channel as well. I think we have another super chat donation. Matt Ross was talking about Zion Young, Nate Wiggins, and Travis Jones. Travis Jones is a guy, I mean, he's more of like a lead by example kind of guy to me.
Yep.
He doesn't really kind of like lead the troops in the battle and things like that, but he definitely, he leads by example. I don't think he's much of an intangibles guy to me. But yeah, so that was Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell signed today. And that's awesome because I think it takes our defense to another level. Again, you get a guy who is literally 6'8", batted down passes are back now. You also have a guy who is, like we talked about, a leader, but in the biggest of moments, like we've seen him do with the Ravens before, he can step up and make plays. Right? He can step up and make plays. And this is a guy who you're not necessarily bringing in to do something like that. Calais Campbell, with what his value is right now, he would be considered kind of like a stopgap kind of player. So like anybody who got Calais Campbell in the last 5, 6, 7 years, where he was kind of considered in like a stopgap type of player, I'll say like 5 years, he was a steal.
Yeah.
Because again, the Cardinals got him last year. He gave him 6.5 sacks, for crying out loud. 6.5 sacks. I can guarantee you there is not a single Cardinals fan out there who would have predicted Calais Campbell to get them 6.5 sacks last year, right? At the most, they might have said 3, maybe 4, right? But Calais Campbell is still doing it, going into his 40s here soon, and I could not be happier, more ecstatic about having him back on this team, especially with Jesse Minter leading the charge on defense.
Did you see like who he came out of his draft class with? Some of the players that he was drafted the same.
Oh man, who is it? It's gonna kill me.
I think Deshaun Jackson was in that draft class.
Oh my goodness, not D-Jax.
Let me pull it up real quick. Let me just have a little.
Oh man, Calais Campbell, I'm telling you,
throwback.
he's the oak tree. He outlasts everything. He's still there.
It was a 2008 NFL draft. This should be fun. The number 1 pick that year was Jake Long, Joe Flacco, Joseph Vincent, same year as him. But some of the guys that were out of this draft, Gerard Mayo. Think about that. DC to coach, Matt Ryan, quarterback now to the CBS now, front office. Rashard Mendenhall, CJ2K, guys like that, Jordy Nelson.
Some of these guys are going to be up for the Hall of Fame soon.
Yeah. Ray Rice, guy just graduated from Rutgers.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, man, we got a super chat donation. This one's coming from Asmodeus.
Best might be a 32-yo Kenny Moore. No good centers. Trade for Bradbury for a 4th or 5th. Or Brewer for a 2nd and bait? If not, roll out, and if no good, get Posick late. Clowney, flexed biceps.
Okay. Shout out to you, Asmodeus, making it rain here on this episode. 404 PRP. Let's clap it up for him. Thank you so much, Asmodeus. Asmodeus saying, looking at all the free Asian cornerbacks, and the best might be a 32-year-old Kenny Moore. No good centers. You got to trade for Bradbury for a 4th or a 5th, maybe. or what was it, Aaron Brewer for a second and Rashad Bateman. If not, roll out. If no good, get Ethan Poaches late, Clowney. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of moves that the Ravens can still make, Asmodeus. I think that we're probably a good, what would you say, Alex, like 2 moves away from being completely done with this offseason. I'd say about 2 moves. One that's going to come in the next couple of weeks, one that will probably come somewhere around training camp, and we'll be good there. But yeah, when it comes to cornerbacks, that's not my number one priority. That's kind of like, okay, if you have everything else figured out, like totally, then okay, let's go ahead and let's try to get another corner in the room. But what do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That center and edge, if we were to go out there and get a center like a Bradbury and then you get Jadeveon Clowney, I'm over the moon. And everything else after that is just kind of a luxury to me. Uh, I did see the Bradbury rumors. I think if I were to put stock in anything, I'd probably put stock in maybe us trading for Bradbury. I'm thinking about our comp picks next year. We're going to get a couple of them. So why not give up a fourth or a fifth and get your center for maybe this year and hopefully maybe next year, and then you kind of have a plan at least, with his O line. And then for Clowney, I think we're all in agreement. Like, get Clowney. It makes the most sense. We want him. He wants us. And I think it'll work out. I think it's just a slam dunk right there. And then for Kenny Moore, definitely interesting that they kind of just outright released him. Maybe it was a contract that was holding teams back from maybe throwing like a fourth, fifth, or sixth for him. But that just to me is very interesting because I think he has some good ball. Not, elite ball, but still some good ball ahead of him where I think he can make some plays for us and, be a good piece of this defense. So thank you, Asmodeus, for the super chat. Definitely all great points there, and probably agree with all of them. I like that. I like that roster build out.
Ravens roster is very, very close. Very, very close to being, dare I say, 100%. It's almost there. It's almost there. There's not too many other holes on this roster that needs to be filled. So, yeah, Eric DeCosta, if I'm being honest with you, as of right now, I got to tip my cap to you. I got to tip my cap. Again, I give the Ravens offseason grade so far an A-. If they can go out and they can secure maybe even just 2 out of the 3 positions, because we talked about center, another edge, wide receiver. To me, corner is an elective. If you can get at least 2 out of those 4, I'd say, then we're cooking with grease here. We're really, really cooking. But okay, Alex, I want to talk about. Let's go ahead and shift gears here. I think we've talked at length about our Baltimore Ravens here on this episode of the show. I think it's time to get into some fun stuff, right? Well, maybe not fun.
Yeah. I see the preview, and just a warning, It's about to get TMZ on PRP. Just a heads up.
Yeah. A little PRP after dark action, right? This is the second time we've had something like this go down on the show here, but there's new developments in this Mike Vrabel and Diana Russini scandal. This is coming from TMZ exclusively. It says new Diana Russini and Mike Vrabel video shows the two heading out for their Tennessee boat day while she was very much showing during her first pregnancy. This is crazy stuff here. And again, I guess this is the private investigator. Wait, is there sound on this? Okay, I think it's just like, it's inaudible. But you can see here, going up the dock is Mike Vrabel walking up to a very pregnant Diana Russini. Alex, your thoughts, man?
So I don't think this is a private investigator because like the second video looks like it's from Snapchat with like the whole like Coach Vrabel on the cut. So I think this is probably a fan who just kind of had it saved in their Snapchat memories. Like, oh, remember that one time I saw Mike Vrabel at the dock? Like, let me scroll, and he's like, oh, that's Diana Russini. When you're built like Mike Vrabel, when you're as well known as he is, especially in Tennessee, this is back when he was a Titans head coach. You don't do this. You don't travel and do these things in the city where you coach. You don't eat where you shit, I think is what it's called. You don't do this. Go somewhere else. Go to Bama. No? Go there. Hell, go to Texas. Go to the Carolinas. Less likely, I doubt. I mean, listen, he's pretty obvious to tell, but if you're in Tennessee and you see somebody who looks like Mike Vrabel, it's probably Mike Vrabel. You go to Carolina, what would he be knowing here? It could be a lookalike. Could be a doppelganger. Could be a doppelganger. But
Could
for this,
be.
man, and the fact she's pregnant, you're
Yeah.
sick, Vrabel. You're sick.
They're both sick. Like,
Well,
what?
yeah. I forgot. Yeah, she's sick as well. She is sick as well. And the husband's
Yeah.
even sicker. I feel for him.
I feel he's got to be the sickest for sure.
Yeah.
He's got to be the sickest out of this entire love triangle here that we see. This is when I saw this, I was really thinking to myself, like, that baby has got to be Mike Vrabel's, because there's no way in hell, Alex, that you can tell me that you are pregnant, and not just pregnant, you are months along in your pregnancy, right? You are showing, and you're with another man, not your husband, right? Who happens to be a public figure as well. And you guys are out gallivanting on a boat, right? You're dockside, and you're gallivanting with each other, having a great time, chopping it up. He's in some short. Oh, you can tell when he put those shorts on that morning. You can. Those are the I just got some ass shorts. I'm not gonna lie to you. The Mike Vrabel shorts that he got on, those blue shorts, bro. I'm telling you, Alex. Alex, look at me. I'm telling you. I promise you, bro. He definitely hit while she was pregnant.
With the bump.
It was 100%, bro.
Bump showing is crazy.
With the bump showing, bro. This is nasty. That's got to be his baby, though. Got to be his baby.
At this point, I saw the report where it's like Diane is madly in love with Mike Vrabel. It's wrong. Y'all might as well just be together. Rip the Band-Aid off at this point. Genuinely. Like, I thought this was going to go away. I thought we were going to see it. I'm like, oh, well, it's a weird coincidence. But after then pictures released, and more pictures released, and videos released.
Yeah, but why is it coming out? Why is it coming out in chunks like this? Why are we getting like a picture
Like I
here
said-
and then 2 weeks later a video there? Yeah.
Like this, I think whoever's video this is probably was like, I saw Mike Vrabel in the water 4 or 5 years ago, goes on a Snapchat, it's like, oh, that's Gianni Russini. Like, when you see it from afar, you don't... Listen, if we saw John Harbaugh out and he was with a woman, I would think it's his wife. I don't know what she looks like. I don't know what Jesse Minter's wife looks like.
But
I don't...
that same kid who recorded this randomly on his Snapchat, if he saw that was Mike Vrabel and Diana Russini, he would have been put that out years ago, right?
Well, I'm saying he probably didn't know it was Diana Russini. That's what I'm saying.
Well, he knew it was Mike Vrabel, and he knew Mike Vrabel was married. So, I mean, it's just
from this video, here's why I take it. It could be like a friend group, because from what they've shown, there's no like romantic thing. It's maybe he's with a bunch of friends and he's friends with this girl at the time. But now when you fast forward it, now that you know it's her, it's like, okay, now you're putting 2 and 2 together. I'm trying to just see maybe why they wouldn't have thought it was anything. But now when you see his Diana Russini, it looks even worse. But at the time, I said it could be a random woman he's with, and it's like a friend group outing.
Yeah, I know that play. I've seen that play from a mile away. Yeah. Oh, the friend group outing, when you know damn well you're there to see one person and one person only. A friend group outing. Get the hell out of here. That's not what they were doing. I mean, that was the disguise. That was a cover up. Great cover up. Bravo. Clap it up for him. Great cover up. It worked for 5 years, right? Half a decade. Kudos to you. But now it's definitely all crashing down here. As Modia says, her ex-husband might like it. I don't know if he would like it if he was the one who exposed if he was the one who hired the PI and everything. You would think that he would allow it to keep happening. You would think that he would invite Mr. Vrabel over him and Mrs. Russini's house and have some fun there or whatever. But we haven't heard about that. But then again, we don't know. I feel like, Alex, we're not anywhere close to this being over with, and like this being the last piece of media that comes out about this. And the reason why I'm saying that is, like, think about this. Like, Mike Vrabel literally told the media that he had to go check into therapy to get help, professional help. Do you know what that means, Alex? He had to get professional help to help him understand why he was so affixated to Diana Russini. That means that, to say it very plainly and bluntly, they were doing some nasty shit. Okay? They were doing some nasty shit on the daily. Like, maybe not the daily, on the regular. And nobody knew about it but him and her. So that's why he knows now that this story is starting to get out. He's starting to resurface all those memories of all those things that they did. Because this is probably extremely mild in the eyes of Mike Vrabel and Diana Russini. Who knows? God knows what they did on the boat. You know what I'm saying? We just don't know. But again, I don't think that this is done by any stretch. We're gonna keep getting new crumbs of evidence by the day. It's wild, man. It's wild.
And here's my thing, and like, this is so funny. I love how Mr. Frat Boy himself, Pat McAfee, hasn't said one word about this. They're quick to ruin anybody else's life, but when it comes at ESPN, those mouths, zip shut. Zip shut. It speaks volumes. It really does. And I wonder if they'll have like a LeBron type decision to air of Diana Russini. The Decision Part 2. And she picks.
Well, no,
her
because
husband or Mike Vrabel.
she's that'd be hilarious. No, at this point, like you said, she might as well just ride off into the sunset with Vrabel. Like, just
I think she's gonna drop a bombshell, dude. I think she's gonna tell all. What she has nothing to lose at this point.
She doesn't. I mean, honestly, her best move right now, literally her best move right now, is to divorce her husband and Mike Vrabel to divorce his wife. As terrible as this all sounds, this will be the best course of action for Diana Russini. If she ended up getting together with Mike Vrabel some way, somehow, and being public about it, and then she writes a book. She writes a book about how I got happy, or something like that. Like, I cheated on my husband, or something like that. You know what I mean?
And I don't regret
Somebody
it.
said, somebody said "Dirty Diana." You know what I mean? Like,
especially little Michael Jackson stuff right now.
Right.
Relation.
You know what I mean? Like, she would. Oh, it would be a New York Times bestseller, bro. A New York Times bestseller if she did that. You know how many people would purchase that book? Now, on the other end, if, let's say, Netflix or Paramount or Amazon Prime or whoever wanted to produce a TV show and or movie around a subject like this, I tweeted this earlier today. If you throw in a little murder mystery involved with this, because again, this is very mild. People cheat every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, this happens actually a lot, very, very often, within adults in the world. But if you throw in a little murder mystery, something like that, not to say that I hope any of that happens in this situation, not at all. But Netflix would have a smash hit on their hands. They would. This is a very juicy situation. Again, this is PRP kind of after dark. Getting a little bit messy here, but it's all good. But yeah, Alex, I don't think we're done hearing about this. I don't.
Absolutely not. And you're right. If this were a book, I'd read it.
Yeah,
I'd read it. It'd be great, just flight read. And like I said, I don't think it's the end. I think we're going to get more and more. I think it's going to get worse and worse. Do I think he's going to have to step down? I'm not too sure. Clock, you're sick.
That's the thing.
That boat rocking. Oh, the life vest are on. Boy. Yeah. I don't know. I can't see in the future. I can. And I've seen some people kind of say he might not be there week 1. It would have to get bad. Real bad.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. What if the strategy by whoever is strategically releasing this information, slowly but surely, what if the play is to like kind of slowly but surely ramp up the evidence being put out as the season gets closer? Right? Like, you ever seen those those edit videos on YouTube where it's like highlights of such and such, but they only get crazier. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it'll be like that throughout these next couple of months until leading up to the season. You see a huge bombshell. Maybe there's a tape or something, or maybe there's just I don't know. With everything we're seeing right here, I'm not taking anything off the table, bro. That's all I'm saying.
And you know what? And it's her husband, Diana Russini's husband, that has this. That's a perfect get back. It's like you want to come to my life and make my life living hell. I'm gonna make yours 10 times worse. 10 times worse. You think you got
Hey,
that job?
Netflix, call us.
Just
Netflix,
wait till this
please.
drops, and this drops. Oh, we're in training camp, and this drops. Preseason week 2, we're 2 or 3 weeks away from the NFL season. I'm gonna drop this, and that weekend, but the Sunday before, the big one. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Wow. Because think about it. If I'm a fan and I'm playing the Patriots in my home stadium, you're damn right I have a Diana Russini poster. You're damn right.
Oof.
You're damn right.
The work's gonna be cut out for whoever's broadcasting the game to like not get that in any shot, you know. But yeah, no, they'll definitely, because like we mentioned, you know, NFL fans, they can be toxic. I know soccer fans are like a totally different level of toxic, but it's like a toxic in soccer.
Oh no, they Liverpool fan, Manchester United fans, I think, were chanting about Diego Jota, the soccer player who died last summer. They're doing chants about it.
See,
Yep.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I knew it. It's because everything about soccer is just like the emotions and the passions are just on another level. It's literally life or death. And that's why I was saying that at the beginning of the episode. It's totally different from football. In America, we're just like, oh yeah, this is our favorite pastime. And no, in any other country that like soccer is their main sport, it's like, no, this is life, right? This is life. This is our way of life. So, now, yeah, you got to respect it. But I don't respect the toxicity. But I respect the passion. Anywho, let's go ahead and get into our last topic here of the show. UFC 328 is this weekend, Alex, and I cannot wait for it. You got Khamzat Chimaev taking on Sean Strickland for the 185-pound title, man. It's going to be absolutely an insane matchup. I'm picking Khamzat Chimaev to win, but here was after the press conference. This was after the press conference when they did the face-off here earlier today. Tensions are getting high, man. Look at this kick. Look at that kick. Right to I don't know exactly where that kick landed, Alex, but the only thing you can hope is that it's not like fight threatening, right? You never want to see anybody get hurt before a fight, and they got to pull out last minute, and then everybody's day and weekend is ruined. But man, I am super excited for this fight. There's a lot of bad blood. If you're not a fight fan, I normally will tell you to watch a fight because this guy is super technical with this and that guy is super technical with that. You guys should really watch this. And sometimes I nerd out about it, but no, there's no nerdiness about this one. This one is just like, bro, these two dudes hate each other, quite literally despise each other, right? And conflict sells, right? As content creators, we know that, and I think that this is going to be a fight where all the way up until the bell rings, when they're literally about to put hands on each other, you're going to be on the edge of your seat wondering what's going to happen because you just don't know if they're going to like put hands on each other. Here's the thing. They're both because the fight is taking place in, where is it at? It's in Newark, New Jersey. They had to keep Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland in different hotels, right? They normally keep all the fighters in one hotel. They all stay there. Then the night of the fight, you get bust there or whatever. They had to keep these guys in separate hotels because they did not want to risk these two guys or their teams, because both of their teams hate each other as well. There's bad blood everywhere. So you have potential for violence before the fight. You have guaranteed violence during the fight. And then you also have potential violence after the fight as well. So much bad blood. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be crazy. Alex, what did you think about all this, though?
I love it. Like you said, conflict sells. And man, we're going to be winners. The fans are. Dana White's going to be a big winner from this. I'm excited. I do think Hamzat wins. I do. But I'm going to see how Sean takes it. I think his last fight, I was impressed. I always call him the marching man. Always that marching style. Always pisses me off. So I wonder how he's going to come out this fight, but I'm so excited for this. Like, for two guys who I really don't care for, I won't be missing this. I'll have the popcorn ready, the drink ready, probably the phone upside down on the table far away from me. I want to be locked on every second of this fight. And it's just bad blood, like I said, it sells. And I think when they go in, they'll probably have a bunch of security guards around them in the octagon before it starts, so it doesn't kick off early. And I kind of hope there's a fight after the fight. I hope like each team kind of starts brawling. I do want to see that. Probably not the best thing to say, but it just makes for great TV.
It does. It does. And definitely two guys who, they're definitely not my favorite fighters either, but like they're two of the most interesting fighters. I can definitely say that. You mentioned Sean Strickland. He did look really good in his last fight. I was at that last fight in UFC Houston where he took out Fluffy Hernandez. He looked great in that fight. And, I think he really captured the attention and the interest of the crowd too. So I think there's going to be a lot of people cheering for Sean Strickland to win this fight because it's kind of like a classic, like, oh, good old USA versus, Russia or whatever. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that they got going on here, which always makes for big controversy and stuff like that and big conflict. But needless to say, though, this fight is going to be incredible. I cannot wait. There's also a lot of other great fights on that card as well. Joshua Van is taking on Tatsuo Taira in the co-main event. I think that's going to be a fire fight too. I'm taking Tatsuro Taira in that one, probably by either decision or submission, one of the two. But yeah, definitely tune in. UFC 328 this weekend. But all right, guys, I think that is pretty much it here for this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. We have covered everything, and we're an hour and 21 minutes in. So if you're still rocking out with us, please be sure hit that like button before you get out of here. Please leave a thumbs up on this video. I don't know how many likes we're at right now, but we need to push it up. Just push it up one more if you're watching out there right now and you haven't clicked like already. Again, thank y'all so much. This is the Purple Rain Podcast. We are live every Monday and Thursday with this very main pod right here, PRP. Episode 404, we'll have 405 on Monday. We also have Quiet Storm Sports, which is hosted by yours truly throughout the week when we're not doing this podcast. So there's always content coming out here on this channel. If that sounds good to you, and you want to keep up with the Baltimore Ravens and all of our takes and opinions on these Baltimore Ravens and sports just in general, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And again, please leave a like on the video. Replay gang, y'all know what y'all got to do. Comment down below. Again, thank y'all so much for coming through. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for spending your evening for another great Purple Rain podcast, from soccer to UFC to Ravens to your daily dose of just drama in the NFL world.
Yeah.
Thank you for spending each second, each minute with us. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always, stay positive and test negative.
Yes, yes, yes. And never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. This is episode 404 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.